Every handshake can lead to something different. And whether it's assembling parts or starting startups, each deserves a banking partnership that's one of a kind. At CIBC, we tailor our services to you. We deliver on your business goals with an experienced commercial banking team you know and the resources of a bank with 150 years of putting clients first. A handshake with us leads to a banking partnership that's made for you. CIBC Commercial Banking. CIBC Bank USA, member FDIC.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, savings coming at ya, savings coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
A pilot like you should be serving your country. We could use someone like you.
From the director of The Bourne Identity.
I was working for the CIA and Pablo Escobar.
Comes an unbelievable true story.
We need you to deliver stuff for us. Just don't get caught.
I made a fortune working for them boys.
Tom Cruise.
He is the greatest smuggler we've ever seen.
Is this all legal?
You trust me?
No.
American Made. In cinemas now. Certificate 15A.
Uplift the lives one day at a time. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. They're here to get your day going fine. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. Kimmy Kim and Elations Radio. And here's your host, Miss Kim Robinson.
Hey, good afternoon, and welcome everyone to the From Powerless to Powerful podcast with your host, Rise and Win Coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream. I'm so happy that you have chosen to spend your Saturday afternoon with me. We're going to have a wonderful conversation. I was trying to think of the right word to describe what you all are getting ready to experience. But again, I am Rise and Win Coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream, and I get the divine honor of supporting clients who feel powerless, shifting to a more powerful place in their life and get to experience more emotional security and spiritual stability and mental, certainty and sanity, something that we definitely need in today's world. And so this is season 2 of From Powerless to Powerful, and in this season we are focusing on expansion. If you would like to know, the lineup for this season, you can always go to my website, which is cynthiasnewell.com, and there, if you sign up to be a part of my email list, you'll get a free gift from me, which is an ebook titled Creating Your Life, and it walks you through how to set powerful intentions so that you can experience magnificent change. And so, again, we're talking about expansion this season. Now, it's my heartfelt intention to encourage and empower through inspirational teaching, spiritual enlightenment, and guided transformation. And I thank God for Elation Radio Network for this platform to be able to do just that. And so as we continue to move forward and grow in our world, I just want you all to know that this is a safe place for you to come, experience information that's going to be life-changing, but also support you in wherever you find yourself in life. And so let me get back to what I was saying. This season we're talking about expansion, and I am in a season of expansion, y'all. And what that means is God has really been stretching me and allowing distance to grow between the familiar, moving me into the unfamiliar, which really calls for more faith. He's been, requiring me to trust him more. Some characteristics and some gifts that are in me that have been lying dormant, they're being developed more, and I am being afforded the opportunity to come from behind the shadows and out in the forefront. And sometimes if, anyone know what that feels like, it can sometimes feel uncomfortable or even intimidating. But I thank God for this season of increase in courage, increase in confidence, increase in assurance, increase in the knowing what my gift and my calling is, and so I'm
Bria,
so
I'm
excited.
On a call. Can you turn the music down?
Of your journey, if this is where you're finding yourself in life. And so we're going to be talking to a good friend, Alycia Johnson. Now, the reason I decided to bring her on this Periscope is because I wanted
I'm on a recorded call.
us to go through this season gracefully. And so as I mentioned on the last show that I took the month of July off just to regroup, recenter, reconnect. And in prayer, God showed me a vision for season 2. And he told me what anointed friends to call on to not only support me in this season of expansion, but others who may be going through this. And so I encourage you while you're listening to this podcast to grab your pen, grab your paper so that you can take notes, so that you can go through this season graceful, elegant, and with ease and not in resistance, which makes the journey, so hard. But today we're going to be talking to my sister friend, Alycia Johnson of Always Journal, who is a powerful and anointed woman of God. You cannot question her ability to hear from God because it's truly she shares a relationship with God, and her gift to be able to teach you how to journal to change your life. It's just phenomenal. It's breathtaking. And, the Bible tells us that there's life and death in the tongue, and she literally walks her clients through, like, how to create using your own words, how to understand and listen to your life to know where you are, how to, define the synchronicities between the spirit realm and the earthly realm, and even how to ask God for what it is that you truly desire or be aligned with what God, desires for you. And so I'm just excited to talk to this master of listening to the rhythm of life and, this gift who teaches others how to journal for power and transformation. Now, today, spending time in her presence is going to ignite your passion to live the full gift of life that God has given you. So I'm telling you right now to buckle up, embrace yourself. I want you to listen in and learn how you can journal in a way that changes your circumstances, your marriages, your money, your mindset, and cause you to truly experience heaven here on earth. Now, Alycia, you here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you so much for being here with me today, beautiful.
Thank you.
I just want to tell the world that, you are really a gift, and what you do is so underrated. Like, so many more people really need to know about the work that you do. And I want to just, share a little bit about her journey in, getting to this place. And so she's the owner of Always Journal, and what with Always Journal, you know what, in your own words, tell us what you do, Alycia.
Okay. I teach people how to journal with purpose, power, and passion, and to bring heaven to earth through, you said it beautifully, just through the power of your words and helping you to understand that we're actually more connected to heaven than we are to earth. And so just helping people to shift and understand that we're 12 hours for God and 12 hours for man, and helping you to truly identify that, there's a whole realm available to us that the world does not want us to be a part of, if I explained it well.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And is that the spirit realm that you're referring to?
Yes, that would be the spirit realm. That would be the heavenly realm. That would be, some people say it's the woo-woo stuff or whatever, but that is what I'm referring to. Yes, yes, yes.
So how did you come to learn about this realm? Like, just walk us through how it played out and how it manifested and unveiled itself to you in your life.
Okay. I couldn't do one more altar call. I was at church every single Sunday. My life was a mess. And the thing that I want people to understand, my story isn't, I didn't have all of this childhood trauma. I didn't have a lot of the horrific things. Some people have some very difficult stories that they have to work through. The things that I went through in my life, a result of just bad choices. Choices. It wasn't that my parents, did anything, we had, a very supportive and loving family. But when I began to enter into the world, you're free at 18 and you start to, live your own life. And it was just a series of bad choices, one after the other. And I got to the point after I got married and had children, and I just hit a breaking point. Like, this is not what my life is supposed to be like. God, this is not what, you have promised me, what you have shown me. And so every Sunday, my husband and I, we were having, extreme problems in our marriage and our finances. It all trickles down. So if you're having problems in one area, it's going to trickle down into other areas. So it was just a snowball effect. It was the marriage. It was the finances. It was the health. It was the children. It was the job. And so every Sunday I was at the altar, God, please fix this. God, please do this. And it was, I began to pay attention. Every Sunday it was the same people at the altar. I was like, something's not right here. Are people not getting delivered? And then the very Sunday that I walked up, and the same people I was sitting next to every Sunday, the woman had her back to me, and because she was facing the altar, and she just instinctively slid over, like she knew I was coming. And something in my spirit was like, there's something wrong with this. So at the end of that altar call, I stood up. I was crying. I had tears streaming from my eyes. I was like, are you ready to change this? And I'm like, heck yeah, I'm ready to change. Don't you see me at the altar every Sunday? And so God was like, let's go. And from that day, God was like, you journal. Your journaling is going to get you through this. And I was like, I always journal. I don't understand. And so God was like, you're going to journal in advance. And so that's how Always Journal began to evolve. God was like, you're going to take your situation, you're going to follow your situation. And I promised God at that point, if you show me how to turn all of this around, if you show me how to turn all of, can you still hear me, Cynthia? I'm sorry.
I can still hear you.
Okay, if you show me how to turn all of this around, I promise I will squeal like a pig. I will tell everybody. So that's how Always Journal started.
So, most people, when you hear about journaling or writing in my diary, it's really you're writing out your thoughts, or at the end of the day, you're doing like a recount of all the events that happened, and or maybe it's the things that you're grateful for, thankful for. But in what you're describing, and just, your experience, that doesn't sound like what God was calling you to do when he said you're going to journal. What is the difference between what God was calling you to do in your journaling and what people equate journaling or writing in their diary to?
I had all of those journals. I had the gratitude journal. I had the, rehashing the past journal. I had the Dear Diary. I'm a journaler, so I journal. And what God was showing me is that, rehashing the past, venting, and all of those things, when you go back and read those things, there's no benefit to that. The only thing you can do is say, wow, I remember that occurrence, and it just brings up those old memories. And so when God started to have me to journal, basically, when you read the journal that I started, when I was reading it at that time, knowing what was going on in the natural, I would just laugh, because I was like, if somebody picked this journal up right now, they would think I really had it going on. So that's the thing that people are most hesitant about, because they're like, I don't want people to read my journals. I don't want if somebody picks this up. That's because you're putting stuff in there that is not, how can I put it, conducive to your growth. Those journals do have a place. Don't get me wrong. They help you they're very therapeutic in some senses, and they help you through. But the type of journaling that we do is speaking things that are not as if they were. And there's a whole system that we use to help you to make sure that you cover every aspect of your life, not just your finances, not just your marriage, not just, the pockets that you want to heal. And so that's the difference in the journaling work that we do. So if somebody wants to pick my journal up, have at it, because I know that where two or more are gathered in Jesus' name, everybody, it all works for everybody.
Right.
And so if you want to read my journal, more power to you, because that's going to strengthen me.
Yeah. And one of my favorite journalers of the Bible was King David, and how he provided all of that good, it's meaty stuff in there, for growth, and he, exposed his feelings, and then you can see through a lot of the Psalms where he came to himself. At one point he was questioning God and God's faithfulness, and then he, was reminded of who God is and who God has been in his life. And so when you talked about the different facets of life, what process do you take the journalers through to really shift their life? And you don't have to give us all of it. but just an overview of what it would be like to work with Alycia Johnson of Always Journal.
One of the things that we do, we make sure that we cover every aspect of the day, every aspect, so nothing is left untouched. So if you can imagine the face of a clock, and so this is a very abbreviated version, but we go in depth. So the way I like to break it down and explain to people what you're going through, if your audience can maybe draw a circle and divide it into 4 quadrants, and imagine that first quadrant is 12 to 3, and then 3 to 6 is the second quadrant, 6 to 9 is the third quadrant, and 9 to 12 is the fourth quadrant. And so helping people to understand the stages of the process that we're going through is how we work through, portions of this work. So if you can imagine the 12 o'clock mark representing the truth of the situation, and when you look at the anatomy of the circle moving in a clockwise progression, when you go from 12 to 3, if you look at the circle, it immediately descends. Like you go down. And that's how our situations work. You start off with a high, like, oh, my gosh, God said I'm going to find the right person. Oh, I'm going to get a raise. I'm going to get whatever it is. You start off really excited, but you don't know how it's going to happen. You don't know all of the details. And so that's where you enter into that first quadrant, 12 to 3 a.m. And that quadrant I call your be still and know quadrant. And if you look at it in the natural, that is 12 to 3 a.m. in the morning, and that's the beginning of a new day, and that's the darkest part of the day, and that's equivalent to the situation. It's the beginning of a situation, but it's also the darkest part because you don't know what you don't know. You're just feeling your way through. Yeah. Once you begin to establish yourself in the situation and you begin, and this is when God speaks to you through your dreams and your visions. You know about that part, Cynthia.
Right.
Your dreams and your visions. And this is the place where heaven begins to build you up, to convince you and to let you know that I got you. I'm speaking to you in your dreams. I'm speaking to you in your visions. And once you catch hold of that, then that middle line that goes from 3 to 9, I call that like the equator. Once you lock into your vision, then imagine that vision is in heaven right now, and heaven is trying to get the information to you. So that vision then drops down from heaven to earth, and that's the 3 to 6 a.m. time frame. And that's where you begin to connect to your vision. Initially, you connect to your vision from heaven to earth. Heaven is giving you the information and dropping it down to you. Now that the information has locked in, it comes to earth between 3 to 6 a.m., so it drops down. This is where you stay connected with your vision through prayer, meditation, and time with God. So 3 to 6 a.m. is very powerful and very important in this work. And so we actually get up between 3 and 6 a.m., and that's where people like tilt. You want me, and that's the only time I coach. I coach between 3 and 6 a.m. Because those are miracle working hours. And then you move to that 6 o'clock mark, and we always go through and we revisit. Now, if you look at the 12 o'clock at the top, the 12 o'clock represents truth, right? The truth of the situation. Right. But we progress. And so once you lock into the vision, it comes to earth, and then you start communicating with heaven between prayer, meditation, and time with God. You always have to revisit your past. And so that 6 o'clock mark represents revisiting things that you used to believe about the situation, that you used to believe, so that you can make any corrective measures that you need to make. And so once you deal with that and do all of your healing work and all of that, then you move to the because in your prayer, meditation, and time with God, you're going to get instructions. And those instructions are going to correlate with the work that you need to do to correct those situations about what you used to believe. So in your instructions, God may say, Cynthia, I need you to call such and such and apologize. And radical obedience is what moves you through the process. So if between 3 and 6 a.m., God says, Cynthia, I need you to call somebody and apologize, what do you need to do? You
call
need to
them and apologize.
Call that person and apologize. But most people get stuck on the little things. Like, I'm not calling them. Do you know how long ago that was? That was 20 years ago. They haven't called me. I'm not calling them. And so people get stuck. And so this is where I come in and I help people to understand that, yes, these instructions are from heaven. Yes, this is a valid request. And the reason why these things are happening, because it's all math. A positive plus a negative. God is the greatest mathematician ever. Yeah. So a positive number plus a negative number, the same number equals 0. So heaven will require you to revisit a situation so you can cancel it. And then heaven may even require you to visit it again so you can set it in the right direction. And so this is why we spend so much time doing that. So once you do the corrective work and you do the instructions, that moves you into that 6 to 9 a.m. that third quadrant where you carry out the instructions. This is where you make the phone call. This is where you visit the person. This is where, whatever heaven tells you to do. Once you obey the instructions and you're radically obedient, then that immediately pushes it back up to heaven, which is that fourth quadrant. And then the angels and God, they do what needs to be done on that side. So when you look at it, we work too hard. We try to get do the whole situation. When you look at it in that visual that I gave you, the 2 top quadrants are for heaven and the 2 bottom quadrants are for you. And so this is how we have to understand. Heaven is responsible for giving you the dreams and the visions. That's heaven's responsibility. You're responsible once it drops down for the prayer, meditation, and time with God, getting the instructions. And then you're responsible for carrying out the instructions. Once the instructions are carried out, then it pushes it back up to heaven. It's like a volleyball type thing. It's your turn, my turn, your turn. Yeah.
That is so powerful. I mean, like, when you really grasp what you just said, I mean, it's so amazing to see how, I guess easy would be the most appropriate word, how simple and uncomplicated life can be for us. And, as you were describing the different quadrants, in that 3 to 6 a.m. time frame, that's when we really are able to not only connect with God, but connect with our heart, really get the true understanding of what's in there. What have we been holding on to? What do we need to let go of? Just what is growing in our heart. And it's so important for us to have that time so that we can hear. And, and the work that I do in dealing with supporting, individuals with emotional challenges, and I see a lot of people that don't want to deal with the issues of the heart, and so they avoid those duties or those things that they need to do to move on, but it's in prayer and meditation and spending time with God. And I personally love spending time in silence or being, in nature. And this just makes me think about when we were in Valerie Love's coaching program, the Elite 11, and my partner Amira and I, we one of us didn't follow through on an assignment, but we both had to, experience the consequences, which was to take a walk at 3 o'clock in the morning. And like you said, it is darkest at that time. Possums and all these scary things are out. And, but as I was walking, after I kicked and screamed and, but as I was walking, I just felt a sereneness, a peace and a hush, and just truly and deeply connected to God, to my source, and just felt like the channel was clear at that time, And so when you were talking about how important and how magnificent and powerful that hour is, that time frame is, you are absolutely dead on about that, And so a lot of breakthroughs, they can take place during that time. But we're going to take a break, something that I always forget to do because the conversation is so good. But we're going to take a break. But right before the break, I want to give you all a chance to win one of Alicia's journals that she's created. Is it an abundance journal? Is it or?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So my sister friend has created an abundance journal that she's willing to gift to someone who answers the movie trivia question correctly. And you can answer this question on the Facebook page, which is From Powerless to Powerful. And the question is such a good question, and I know y'all should know the answer to this. So I'm a movie buff, and, so the question is, in what Will Smith movie did he allow the weight of his burdens to take his own life using an octopus? I know y'all know the answer to that. So it's a Will Smith movie where he was burdened down and he took his own life using an octopus. So if you think you know the answer to that question, go to the Facebook page, put your answer there, and the Facebook page is From Powerless to Powerful. And I believe, did you share the link on your page about today's show?
I did.
Okay. So it's going to be in the event as well, the event that Alycia, her event today. So forgive me, I'm just a little scatterbrained today. I don't know I got a yard sale going on and just a lot of things happening today. But if you go to the event, Alicia's event, Connect to Your Heart, then you'll see the question there. You can answer there, or you could go to my website, which is CynthiaSNewell.com, and if you click on From Powerless to Powerful, on my first screen, it'll take you right to the spot where you can answer that question. And after the break, we're going to talk more to Alycia about what she offers, what she does, and how you can connect with her. All right, so we'll be back after the break.
I don't want to pretend, I don't want to play games, can't lie to myself, not one more day. Been trying to deal with some things that hard to talk about. I'm going through some changes and I'm having my doubts. Been there for everyone else, now I'm going through. The problems tonight, just gonna have to get used to me not being around. I'm not doing fine. So many things going on in my life. I'm not okay. No, I'm not doing fine. Can't smile and give another obligatory line. Supply. So I get dressed and put my face on and play my part. Handle my business with a heavy heart. Here's the tough thing about it all. I'm still praying, still going to church, and yet I fall. The struggle is so deep. Even with faith, I can't believe what's happening to me. Now I understand. I'm not okay. So many things going on in my life. I'm not okay. I'm not wait for another day, then you take a breath. Keep it moving, that's as good as it gets. I'm not. So many things going on. So many. I'm not doing fine. Can't smile and give another. I won't smile. I'm not doing fine. I'm not doing fine. So many things going on. Not today, no, 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 no. I'm not okay. I'm not doing fine. No, no. So many things going on in my life. Today I'm not okay. I'm not doing fine. I'm not doing fine. Oh, and give another. No, 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 no.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you again for being with us this Saturday afternoon for the From Powerless to Powerful podcast. I am your host, Rise and Win Coach Cynthia Newell of Dare to Dream, and I am just so excited that I have my good friend here, Alycia Johnson of Always Journal. She's here sharing some wonderful information about the power of journaling, the creative power that we house within us to shift and change any situation in our life. And she just really talked about some really good information, the different quadrants and times of the day, and what they mean and how we can experience and be more effective in those quadrants of the day. If you're interested in connecting with Alycia and learning more about the work that she does, and, tapping into her gifts to change your life into what I like to say, one that you look forward to waking up to, I want you to connect with her at Always Journal. Is it .wordpress.com, Alycia? Is that correct?
No, it's just alwaysjournal.com.
My bad. Alwaysjournal.com. She has some great things going on for you guys. And if you missed, if you're just tuning in into the show right before the break, I did share what the movie trivia question is. If you get the answer correct, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a free copy of Alicia's new Abundance Journal. And so you can go to the event for Alycia and our conversation, and the question is listed there. Just send your answer in, and the winner will be announced on next week's show or on the Facebook invite. And so, again, thank you so much, Alycia, for sharing your Saturday afternoon with me and talking about, connecting to your heart through the gift of journaling. I have a question, inquisitive me. That's why I love this platform, because I get to ask questions, things that other people definitely may be thinking. But so when you're going through a season of expansion, this is for all those that are being stretched out there, and you're experiencing a lot of uncomfortableness, I've personally know how it is to have a challenge to see beyond what you're facing and focus on what you want to experience. And so if you're writing, you're offering, for individuals to speak those things that be not as though they were in their writing, what would you say to someone that is just having a hard time being able to picture their life being any other way other than what it is?
This is cool because people that are doing the work, and they've been, working with me since the official inception, since like 2013. I get text messages. It's hilarious throughout the day because I tell people in the beginning, and I don't sugarcoat anything, you will not go from 0 to 60 overnight. I don't care who you are. You're not going from 0 to 60 overnight. But what I will, and it will not be easy, but what I always tell people is that when things begin to pop off in your life, and things begin to change, that's very exciting. And people are like, what is your definition of fun? Because every time somebody, calls me, they're like, oh, my gosh, this happened. I can't believe this is going on. I was like, oh, my God, that's so much fun. And they're like, what's your definition of fun? When things start happening, that means that it's working. It's working. Right. It's working. When things start to pop off and change and shift, that means that you have gotten heaven's attention. And when things are going left, they're actually going right, but it looks like they're going left because you're so used to where you are, that means that heaven is on the case and heaven is correcting all of the areas that you got wrong.
Oh, my God.
That's the way, and that's why in my life, when stuff starts really popping off and shifting, I laugh. I was like, oh, I hit it. I got it. I'm on the right track.
Yes. Oh, my God. That is so true. And, you and I have, talked about just our parenting journey and, earlier this week, earlier this week, I had been praying, to God, for a couple of weeks of just in this season of expansion and just asking for guidance on how to move through this season gracefully. And so God said, go clear out your basement. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I put it off about a week or so, and I noticed that, as I put that off, things were getting a little bit more tense here with the people that reside in this home. So I set a date. I said, don't nobody schedule anything to do Sunday. It was last Sunday. We're going to clean and clear out the basement, hence the yard sale today. And so all hands were on deck, and we did that. And so, girl, let me tell you, maybe 2-3 days later, a fight broke out in my house. Now, I'm asking, my prayer to God is to clear, to move everything. You wouldn't think that it would be the people that was removed, but, anyway, my older two daughters, they're no longer here. And so I'm standing at the kitchen sink, and God just said, that's my doing. That's part of that clearing out, And so, just thinking about what you were saying, like when things start to pop off, if you don't have that, I'm just going to go back to that 3 to 6 a.m., how vital it is for your sanity, how vital it is for your connection to your heart, because you'll go to thinking, what have I done wrong? This is going all the wrong way, and God, what are you doing? You'll just be totally confused. And so you're absolutely right. And it took me a minute, to get to that point of just be quiet, just hush, and just connect with God, connect with your heart, through prayer, and really listen. I love, in your description, you've mastered listening to the rhythm of life. So many people are out of tune with that when things start to kick off, they go crazy because, one, we're so used to functioning in the chaos and the mayhem that we have been functioning in. It's hard for us to sometimes let it go. Who am I going to be if this is gone,
Exactly.
Oh, my God. So, what you're saying is so true, and you just really have to be able to really have a relationship with God, and that takes that discipline. And 3 to 6 a.m., that's when the sleep is kind of gets really, really good, and
right.
be able to sacrifice some of that time to get up and spend with God. And so what I want to do is open up the show to listeners who would like to share their experience of working with you, the transformations that they've began to see in their life as a result of the work that they've been doing with you. And so callers, if you're there and you would like to share, your experience, your journey with working with Alycia, the lines have been unmuted, and so you are free to share. And I'm just going to be quiet for a moment or so to give you an opportunity to speak. Anybody just want to talk about the radicalness that you've been experiencing as a result of having Alycia in your life, feel free to do so. So while people are, I guess, making up their mind if they want to share, can you talk about some of the challenges that you faced in your marriage, in your work, in motherhood, that you used the power of journaling or connecting to your heart through journaling, how it helped you to work through those things?
How much time we got left?
You can choose one, but we have about 3 minutes.
Oh, Lord. Pick an area. Pick any area. Let's say, I guess the most prominent one is a relationship with my husband and I, and journaling. That's one of the things where I've done a lot of the things that, people do with journaling. I've gotten frustrated. I've vented. I've done everything in the way that the world teaches. But as far as the changes that we have seen in our marriage really began to take hold when I started to journal the way that God instructed me to journal. And the most fascinating part is that when you journal in advance, when you start to journal based on what heaven is telling you to do, especially in our marriage, when things happen, I'll give you an example. I work better with examples. So one day, Mike and I, we were in a very bad place. And so I needed to know that God was talking to him because, this is one thing that people need to take note of. When you ask for heaven to do something for you, everybody else gets to keep doing what they're doing. And so I was getting frustrated because I'm like, God, you're making me do all of this stuff. You're not making him do anything. This isn't fair. This isn't right. You got me getting up at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. You got me doing this. And God broke me down real good. God said, you asked. You asked me to do this. He hasn't asked yet. So he's off limits. I don't have to do anything with him. So I was like, oh, okay. And so that really humbled me because we want the whole world to change with us, but the whole world may not be willing to change. Ask and it will be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door will be opened. And this is how heaven works. If you ask, heaven will answer. If you seek heaven, heaven will find you. If you knock, heaven's going to open the door. It's a personal journey. And so that's the thing that people have to understand is that when you start journaling for your life, you're journaling for your life. Now, people will get into alignment with what you're doing if they're meant to be there and if they're part of that journey. Luckily, my husband was part of my journey, so he's still here. We're still together. But that's the biggest thing that I had to learn through the journaling work is that it's a very personal process. And through that process, heaven gets to let you know who will be there and who will not be there.
Yeah. So in what you described, in essence, we're really basically just writing out the promises of God, that God is speaking to us. We're writing that out in our journal, and we're connecting to the emotion of it, because and we feel it. We make it real. And would you say that that's drawing it more to us? It's preparing us for it. What does it do when we write out the promises of God and get into the day and the life of our future life?
Okay, well, the first thing that you have to understand is that you have to get clear on the voices that are talking to you. So is it God talking to you? Is it you talking to you? Or is it the world talking to you? So you got to get clear on your God voice. And so your God voice, this is what we spend a lot of time helping people to understand their God voice. Once you lock into your God voice and you understand that it is indeed God telling you what to write, then what you're doing, you're pretty much you're charging the atmosphere. You're giving your angels instructions. You are writing down the blueprint that heaven is giving you. So that's what you're doing. You are speaking only the things that you hear heaven saying to you. You are seeing only the things that your Father is showing you, and you are doing only the things that heaven instructs you to do. And so that's what you're doing. You're just following the instructions.
I see. So do you encourage individuals to go back and read their journals like constantly, or is there a time span and when they should go back and read it, or?
In the journals that I've created, the journals are 30-day journals, so it takes you methodically through the process for 30 days. And in those journals, there is time allowed, maybe 2 or 3 times. I can't remember exactly. I think it's like day 15, day 25, different days along the way that you reread your entire journal, what you've written so far, and because you're familiarizing yourself with your new life. And so a lot of people just want to write, and that's the thing. People aren't really good with repetition. And so you've got to understand that repetition is like your best friend. Repetition is your best friend because you are changing on a cellular level, and you've got to start to introduce this new life to your life so that you can understand what you're supposed to be doing. So, yes, rereading your journals, rereading. And we do a lot of reading in this community, a whole lot of reading, a whole lot of deep introspective work. And people are like, how many times are we going to read this? How many? We read the same thing. We read the same thing maybe 4 times, maybe 4 times. A first time for information, the second time for confirmation, the third time for application, and then the 4th time for duplication. So you're constantly absorbing and reabsorbing.
Wow. So if someone wanted to work with you, how would they, be able to connect and work with you?
One of the things that my Facebook page is probably the best way to connect with me initially, so you can get a feel for my style, a feel for the community. We do Table Talk Tuesdays, and that's posted on the Facebook page on Tuesdays, just to kind of introduce people to the work, to introduce people to who I am. And then you can also, I'm on Instagram and YouTube, all at the same handle, Always Journal, and you had mentioned the website. You can find me there. This work is not for the weak at heart. So I'm not very interested in a whole lot of numbers. I'm interested in quality.
Right.
This is why, when people work with me, I'm just upfront, like, this is not your mama's journaling. I'm not the one to baby you. I'm not going to be any easier on you than God was on me.
Right.
And so, that's how, so the best way is through Facebook, so you can get a feel for, my posts, my personality, and I'll be putting more videos out and things like that, so that when we connect one-on-one, it's you're doing it with your eyes wide open, and you know what to expect. Because I'm very serious. I'm very serious about this work. This work is very sacred, so that's the best way to connect with me.
Okay, very good. Well, is there anything that you would like to offer, listeners? Any more? I mean, you've shared a lot. Well, no, I have another question. What's a mantra that you live by? That just is a guiding principle of your life, a belief, a proverb, an affirmation.
Okay. Truth takes action. Truth doesn't make a whole lot of noise, and truth does what needs to be done. And that mantra, that affirmation came from 2 homeless men in Georgetown.
Wow.
God speaks to me through homeless people and drunk people. So that's my courtesy. That's my way of the homeless man digging in the garbage can near my job.
That is something. That's been interesting. Wow. Yeah, God is, he will speak to you in ways that you know it's him. Like for me, it's animals and numbers and, dreams, of course, and so God is very, God loves his children. And so, if you're ready to really shift your life, like get results, and change situations that you have seen as hopeless and helpless and, for forever, I would encourage you to connect with Alycia. You can go to her Facebook page, Always Journal, and like you said, you can follow her, get a feel for who she is, what she has to offer. And I really would love for one of the listeners to just share an experience since working with you. I'm not going to make you all, but if someone is there and they're comfortable enough just sharing, their journey, I would love to hear from you. But if not, she does have, people in her community that share on the page, different communities that she has. Her YouTube channel, Always Journal, she has some great content there. And so connect. Writing is such a sacred gift, and just imagine just being able to write yourself into more peace, write yourself into more joy, write your life into more money, if that's something that you desire, more than enough, or a better relationship, a happier marriage, a healthier body, a strong and successful business. If you're ready to really shift your life, I would encourage you to connect with my sister, and like she said, she's a no-nonsense sister. I'm an anointed and powerful woman myself, and sometimes when I forget that and I may call Alycia, and she'll say, I don't know what you're calling me for. You already know this stuff. She'd be like, basically like, quit playing, like she probably looking at the phone like, get off my phone,
Never.
But I thank God for her, just our paths crossing and, us always staying connected since being in a coaching program together many, many moons ago. And we both, just continue to follow the voice of God to create the things that God has sent us to this earth to create and do. And so if you're ready to take your life to the next level, I'm going to say connect with Alycia so that you can, journal yourself into some true results. She's a bad mama, and this ain't journaling for your grandmama, so I just want to thank you all so much. Alycia, do you have any upcoming events that you want to share with the audience or anything happening online that people should know about?
I'll be making those announcements next week, but we are finishing up our first 30-day challenge, which is Journaling for Your New Life. And the next challenge, which is actually part of the journal that we're gifting, the Journaling for Abundance, will begin on September 18th. We have the journaling work. With the purchase of the journal, you're added to the private Facebook community, which has additional videos to guide you through the work, or you can also choose to be a part of the 5 a.m. Morning Zoom calls. That's Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. every morning for 30 days. We go in depth with the journaling work, and with that package, you also have access to moi. And we do the work in the morning, and then there's a private group, group community to support you during that 30-day period. So that's the thing that we have coming up. And also, if you're in the DMV area, we're starting our meetups, our Always Journal meetup. So you can follow us or find us on meetup.com under Always Journal, so you can keep abreast of what we're doing locally.
That is wonderful. I am so excited for what God is doing and how He's using you mightily, to minister to a lot of people. I too was one of those people that went up to the altar crying and snotting and looking for God and looking for change, and I had a very amazing experience that brought me to where I am in life today. And so if you're that person that can relate to those experiences where you feel like you're going up and you're getting prayer and you're doing all the things that you were taught to do, and you're still feeling lost, you're still feeling unsure, you still feel disconnected, it's probably time to do something different. And I would encourage you to connect with Alycia for Always Journal, and you can even connect with me, for Dare to Dream, and have some great things in store. If you just, trust God and try something new. Sometimes when you keep doing the same thing, or not sometimes, all the time, when you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. And so why not get real results and journal? So I just want to thank you so much for being here, sharing your Saturday afternoon with me, and just gracing the audience with your knowledge, your wisdom. I love you, and I want you all
Thank
to.
you.
Yeah. No problem.
And before we go, I know this was about Always Journal and everything, but you connect with our community and the dreams and the dream interpretation and the things that you do. I'm so grateful that God has allowed our paths to cross, and I'm looking forward to doing more of the work together. So I'm just I'm over overwhelmed with all of these powerful connections that God has allowed me to make. So thank you, Cynthia. Thank you so much.
This is wonderful. And for those that are dreamers and you find yourself feeling confused when you wake up, after a dream, and you know that there's a meaning, but you just don't know what the meaning is, you can tune in the month of, you can always reach out to me on my website, www.cynthiasnewell.com, and schedule a soul session. But also in October, for the entire month of October, I'm going to do a teaching series about dreams speak, how to understand the language of your dreams, because our dreams, they house some, I hate to keep using this word, but I don't know what else to use, powerful information. Challenges that we're having in our waking life, our dreams are downloading things to us, like you said, and you're just, when you're talking about the different quadrants, but if you just can't understand what it's saying to you, then you're just lost, and so I want to support individuals understand what their dreams mean, how to apply that to their waking life, and then I will be doing some live dream interpretation, and so I'll have more information about that on my website, and if you have a dream and you would like for me to interpret on my show, you can, I'll share how you can get that to me, and basically email coachcynthia@gmail.com, and I'll do a few live interpretations on the show during that series. But this has been amazing. I just thank you so much for everyone that tuned in, and that's going to go and answer the trivia question, so you can win a copy of Alicia's book, Always Journal, and take your abundance, to the next level. Did you have anything else you wanted to share before we close?
No, just thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to what God has for us in the future.
Amen. All right. Well, girl, you enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you all so much for tuning in. And we'll be here again on the 9th of September. We're here every second and fourth Saturday of the month. And I'm going to have Ashley Scott. Do you remember Ashley, Alycia?
Yes, I'm tuning into that one. I love Ashley. Yes. Ashley Gaynell Scott. Yes.
Yes, she's going to be here, and we're going to be talking about this far by faith, and just how, we can move from where we are to where God has showed us that he desires for us to be using our faith. And so she's going to talk about her journey and Curly in college and just all the wonderful things that she has going on, and inspire someone to know that, no matter where you are, like Janine said on the last show when we talked about the love journey, she said, start with where you are and with what you have. You'll be surprised how far you get. So hope you all will tune in on September 9th to listen to Ashley and I have, a wonderful conversation about faith. And until next time, I hope you all have a great rest of the day. All right. Talk to you soon, Alycia.
Okay, love you, girl. Bye-bye.
All right, love you too. Bye-bye.
An ordinary person, living life on the edge of expectation. Ever since my life took on a new direction, I've been living life contrary to condemnation. Because God, you had mercy on me. You revealed your son in me. Opened my eyes and now I see to live my life more abundantly. I'm walking by faith and not by sight, in your power and not my own might. And I live to die so you can increase and I decrease. You're wonderful, yes you are. Tremendous, yes you are. Exceptional, yes you are. And I see, but I see so differently. And I know that I must die.
bar, skipping the beat. You're not close enough, so that space between you and me, let's lose it. The way you're dancing, swaying to the music, girl, that body and how you move it. Every time you cross my mind, girl, I lose it.
Alexa, play the Country Heat playlist.
Okay.
I don't think you know what you're doing to me. You got
With Amazon Music, a voice is all you need. Get tens of millions of songs. Download the Amazon Music app today.